How's it going, guys? Jaxxshaxer here, and today's going to be my first Overwatch video. And after giving it some thought, I decided that I want to start doing some of my thoughts, some of my opinions, some gameplay, some of my reviews for some of the games released. Currently, I'm playing on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, but I'm also building a PC. So there's going to be some benchmarking coming out for certain games. I'm also going to include a video of my build. And yeah, I think this is going to be a good push forward on the channel, and I think that this is going to be a good way for you guys to relate to me when on the team I'm doing all the work and the rest of the team is doing absolute jack shack. So here is my first video, and I'm going to be covering whether Hanzo is worth it or not. So Hanzo, everybody knows Hanzo who's played the game, especially those who played the beta. Probably had one of the most annoying ults that he covered most of the end kill cams, followed by characters such as Reaper, Bastion, and Torbjorn. The guy just repairing his turrets, and his turrets doing all the work. So those who have played Overwatch, you know that this is a team-based game covering objectives, moving objectives from one location to another, kind of King of the Hill styles. And for those who play the game, you know that your team usually just picks one character at the beginning, sticks with that character no matter how piss poor they're doing, and which has led to many losses, many frustrating nights. But I don't play like that. And that's not how the game is supposed to be played. This is a team composition game where you choose different characters, tanks, builders, attacking, support, snipers, in order to have the best team comp versus the enemy team comp. And the reason why in this game you can change your character at any time during a death is simply because you're meant to. And people don't do that. So for me in this video, I'm playing in Numbani, doing the payload. First one's on defense and the second one's on attack. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because I've been watching some people's reviews of the game, some people's thoughts about Hanzo, and honestly, Hanzo's been getting a bad rap since the game released. People saying he's not good, people saying that he's cheap, people saying that he's not worth it and Widowmaker's a better sniper. Well, I have some different thoughts and opinions than they do. And just a little information before the video starts. This is my thoughts and my opinions. You are perfectly welcome to differ from mine. You don't have to agree. But based on how I play and based on my play style, this is what works for me, and this is my opinion, my thoughts. So leave a comment below if you disagree. If you agree with me, give me a like, whatever you want to do. So, Hanzo, is he worth it? If you're comparing team compositions and you are deciding whether you're going to be a Widowmaker, whether you're going to be a Hanzo, whether you're going to be a builder, what are some of the things that you should be deciding when doing that? Well, first of all, how good you are with the character. It's good to always try out new characters, but if you're doing very poorly with one character, I would suggest switching, getting some different dynamics going. You really should be looking at what the other team has. If they're steamrolling you and they only have short-range characters, it's best to pick a long-range character. If they are just swarming in, if they're teleporting behind you with Reaper, if they're using Tracer, it may be a good idea to get Torbjorn and use his turrets as a line of defense. Sometimes even using 2 or 3 Torbjorns are good. I've seen a team of 5 or 6 Torbjorns just decimate people. But that's what you want to be looking for. What's the enemy doing? Which enemies on the enemy team, which champions, are really decimating you or steamrolling your team, and how can you prevent the enemy from pushing the payload, capping the objectives, all of that. So, Hanzo, is he worth it? In my opinion, yes he is. He's probably one of my most valuable players when I play him, and I think he's an asset on every single team, and I'm going to tell you why in this video. In Overwatch, the hitboxes for characters' heads are extremely large, and I'm going to include a link in the description below to Force Gaming's video on the hitboxes and how ridiculous they are, especially for characters who use projectiles such as Genji, such as Widowmaker, such as Mei, such as Hanzo. Those characters who actually physically move something or shoot something, their hitboxes are kind of ridiculous. So Hanzo, one of the things that I hear so often is that Hanzo's hitboxes for sniping is stupid. And I must admit there are times when I find myself getting headshots on characters when I did not expect it, nor did I think it was a headshot. But that is consistent throughout the game with characters who use projectiles. There are some headshots that a lot of characters shouldn't be getting, but that's just how the game is, based on the fact that it's harder to hit characters who are shooting projectiles. It's way easier to hit someone if you're using, a melee attack, if you're using someone like Reaper who's close range. And so it makes sense why the developers of the game did it that way. So we can't complain about Hanzo specifically, because when you take a look at that video, and I recommend that you should, it's pretty consistent across the board that characters who are using projectiles tend to be hitting other champions in ridiculous ways at ridiculous ranges. So one of the assets I find to Hanzo is just his ability to hit and get markers and assists on enemy champions at any point in the game. Especially during playstyles like the payload. When people are moving the payload, Hanzo has an incredible ability of just shooting arrows into the groups of people, knocking down 20%, 30%, 40% of their health, and then your team finishing them off. His arrows do a lot of damage, and as you're hitting enemies with your arrows, you're gaining your charge for your ult. I have not seen another character that I've played on both platforms, Xbox One and PlayStation 4, where I get my ult quicker than with Hanzo. You hit a couple guys with your arrows, your ult is pretty well up at the very beginning. So one of his biggest assets, I would say, is ability to be involved in almost every kill, if you're smart and if you're good enough. Using his visual arrow is extremely beneficial when trying to see if enemies are coming around corners, seeing if enemies are coming from their graveyard areas, seeing if enemies are in a room. You know what I mean? It's a visual. It's like a UAV for those who play Call of Duty. It's not as good as Widowmaker's, but that's Widowmaker's ult. So she's kind of lacking in a number of different offenses. So Hanzo has that ability to pick up eliminations, pick up assists, and be involved in team fights. And honestly, a lot of people are getting good at dodging Hanzo's ult, but Hanzo's ult, in my opinion, is still one of the most valuable for zoning the enemy. If they're pushing a payload, and especially you'll see in this game type, which we're playing the payload, if you coordinate shooting your ult, not even trying to hit the enemy, but just trying to push back the enemy, trying to zone two of enemy champions instead of fighting L6, his ult is very valuable at doing that. The power in his ult is not in getting kills, as some people may think. Some people are waiting all game to get their ult and trying to get the kill cam of getting 4 or 5 kills. The power in Hanzo's ult is in zoning the enemy, pushing back the enemy, making people move out of the way, scattering a team. That is the whole purpose of Hanzo's ult, especially for the fact that you can shoot it through multiple walls. If you've pushed back the enemy, the time is ticking, 10, 15 seconds less. If you have Hanzo's ult, don't wait until people are there. Shoot it in the direction you know the enemy is going to be coming, and it's going to force them to move out of the way instead of charging into the objective and pushing the game into overtime. Hanzo has that incredible ability of doing that. So, Hanzo. In this game, I get about, I think, 23 eliminations and 6 deaths, but that's not where the value is. As you're looking through the offense, the defense, Hanzo's greatest asset, and why I think that he's worth it, isn't because of his ult, which is a great move, by the way. It's a great ult. It's not even because of his vision, which I believe is also very important. It's for the sake that Hanzo, if you're good with him, if you're able to coordinate kind of the projectile, if you're able to get a feel for how hard you should hold his arrow back, when to melee, when to put yourself in good positions. Hanzo's greatest asset, and why I think that he's worth it, is Hanzo's ability to be involved in many of the team's kills. You just put yourself in the right position. So, This has been the first video. There's going to be more to come. If you liked it, please click like below. If you have different opinions or different thoughts, also comment. And be sure to subscribe because there's going to be more videos coming very soon.